In this video, I'll talk about how chasing perfection and disciplining myself led me to burnout and feeling worse about myself, where instead shifting my mindset to devote myself to self-love completely changed everything. I'm also going to share how embracing my dream self turned everything around, because you're never going to go further as the person that you see yourself as. I was disciplined, but not in the right way. I was overworking, getting through life miserable and hungover, and literally just all of the wrong things. If you've ever felt trapped by your own expectations, then stick around. I promise this will resonate with you. The biggest shift for me was realizing that discipline without self-love is completely empty. It's like running a marathon with no finish line. You're exhausted and you're not getting anywhere. The moment I shifted from criticizing myself to being compassionate with myself, everything changed. And so let me explain what I mean by that. Shifting from criticism to compassion means you need to stop beating yourself up for not being there yet and congratulate yourself for being on the way to get where you want to be. Treat yourself like you would a friend and believe that you are already the person that you are trying to become. Commit to small, consistent actions and embrace imperfection as part of your growth. Now you need to identify the problem and/or what you need to do to become your dream self. Do you need to start waking up earlier, find a new job, working out more frequently, eating healthier, maintaining a cleaner environment? Whatever it may be, large or small, figure out what you need to do or change. And now that you have this thing that you figured out, celebrate your small little everyday wins instead of just only celebrating when you accomplish this thing or what it may be. Because if you're only happy when you check that thing off your checklist, you're never really going to be happy that often in life. Where if you congratulate yourself and celebrate every single day, every single tiny little step of your success, you're going to be so much happier and more likely to actually achieve what you're trying to achieve. Here are some tips to help you do that. Tip number 1 is to focus on identity and not just goals. Your actions will follow who you believe you are. So who are you? You love yourself, right? Do you or do you not believe that you're truly capable of it? Because if you believe that you're truly capable of it, you will achieve it. If you're doubting yourself that you're not really ready or able to do whatever you want to do, then how is it ever going to happen? Tip number 2 is to commit to small daily micro actions. Big transformations happen through small, consistent choices. If you improve yourself by just 1% every single day, imagine where you're going to be in a year from now. Because let me tell you, the Jeanette who walked into 2025 does not remotely recognize the Jeanette who walked into 2024. She is a completely different person, and I am so looking forward to whoever I may be in 2026, how much growth I will have had since now, pretty much. Step number 3 is to embrace your imperfection. Your dream self isn't perfect. They're learning and they're growing and they're discovering things about themselves just like you are now. So give yourself grace and remember that showing up authentically is what really matters, and that failure is a part of success. Step number 4 is to visualize your dream self daily. And I'm sure you've heard this a million times before, but the whole, what do they do? What do they wear? Who do they hang out with? People say it because it's true. Visualize your dream self every single day, even if it's for just a minute every single day. So I'm going to read a little bit of what I wrote about my dream self. So my dream self works for herself, creates content to help and inspire others. She loves herself and all of her flaws and nourishes her body. She doesn't give in to toxic people, and she respects herself and sets boundaries. She trusts she will follow through with the goals she sets for herself and knows she can do anything she puts her mind to. So it doesn't have to be a lot. It can be just a little blurb, something, and just read that to yourself every single day. One of the hardest parts of my journey was facing the fact that I was drinking very heavily. I used alcohol as a way to cope with stress, emotions, and the chaos of my own mind. At the time, I thought and felt like it was helping me, but deep down I knew that it really wasn't, and it was only hurting me. I remember waking up one morning after a long night of drinking and just totally empty because I knew I had reached my rock bottom. And I realized that I just could not keep living the way that I was living, and I had to actually do something about it if I wanted to become the person I've always dreamed of being, because she would not be doing what I was doing. And the same thing goes for vaping. I was doing that as well. I was using it as a crutch, but it was very harmful. I went to a Halloween party and I got so drunk, and in that moment I knew that it was my rock bottom. I had to Uber home, and in the Uber, without any warning, I just pretty much threw up all over myself. And in that moment I knew that I truly lost myself. The last time I drank alcohol was 1 week later. I didn't stop right away because I was scared of the new life that I'd be living and the life I'd be leaving behind. So I continued drinking that week to kind of try and run away from it. But I had a moment 1 week later where I just knew I had to stop, and I've truly never been happier, because I knew that the only thing worse than reaching my rock bottom was to continue staying there, or it to only happen again. I had tried time and time again before to stop drinking, but nothing worked. It wasn't until I was ready to make a change for myself that things stuck and made a difference. When I decided to quit drinking, I knew that there was going to be something else that I had to focus on instead of drinking, so I turned my focus on prioritizing my health and my fitness and my mental health. I started working out, eating better, and showing up for myself in ways that I had never had before. And it wasn't always easy. There were times where maybe I did want to give up, or it was harder than others, but I knew that this was the best thing for me. And now, almost 3 months later, I am happier than I've been my entire life, because I was able to prove to myself that I was devoted to change. So for me, self-love was forgiving myself for my past mistakes, allowing myself to rest, and redefining what success meant. It also meant learning to accept my diagnosis with borderline personality disorder. This is something that I can make an entire separate video about, for how borderline personality disorder affects me. As a general overview, for those of you who don't know, borderline personality disorder is a personality disorder that makes it very difficult to regulate emotions, and it can lead to impulsive behaviors, unstable relationships, reckless behavior, and substance abuse disorders, which I had. Some common symptoms include emotional instability, like intense anger or difficulty controlling emotions, self-harm or suicidal thoughts, a distorted sense of self, feeling insecure, empty, or like a terrible person, relationship instability, often seeing relationships or things as all good or all bad, or totally all black or white. For a long time, I saw my BPD as a weakness. I felt broken and ashamed for how intensely I experienced life. But as I've been working with loving myself, I've been able to reconstruct that view to turn my BPD into a strength. Well, yes, it does give me lots of challenges. It also gives me a whole lot more of emotional depth, empathy, and resilience. And since things are so black and white for me, I have such intense emotions. When I want to do something, I can do anything that I set my mind to, because I hone in to whatever I'm feeling. So once I saw this as a strength and saw what I can do to use it to my advantage, my life rapidly just started getting better and better and better. Devoting myself to self-love meant creating habits that help me regulate my emotions and build a more stable life. Making my bed first thing in the morning and putting on music immediately always starts my day with a win and makes me want to succeed even more. Journaling every day to process my thoughts and emotions also helps. I've also been more on top of keeping my space clean, because a clutter-free environment helps me feel calm. While also learning, now this is really important, to be patient with myself when I have bad days or intense emotional setbacks. Now, talking about bad days, we all have them, and the hardest part of self-love is learning to show up for yourself on these bad days. And showing up for yourself on bad days is going to look a lot different than how you may show up for yourself on a good day, and that's totally okay. With BPD, bad days and little minor inconveniences or setbacks for me can feel like the end of the world, even though to the naked eye or just a normal person, things wouldn't bother them as much. And while I know logically that my reactions to things aren't the way they should, I can't change that they are what they are. So some things that I do to help myself on bad days is to remind myself again that rest isn't failure. I really do still struggle with allowing myself to just rest. I feel the need to constantly be doing something and being productive, but that does, like I said, lead me to burnout, and I am working on telling myself that rest isn't failure and I need to allow myself rest. And I also tell myself that progress isn't linear. Like I said, showing up for yourself on bad days is going to look different than the good days, but it just matters that you're trying and you're going in the right direction. I remind myself that my emotions are valid, but it doesn't mean that they need to define me and who I am as a person. So to wrap up this video, I wanted to say that through self-love, therapy, and devoting myself to my dreams and loving myself, I found a way to thrive. Discipline isn't inherently bad, but without self-love, it can be a trap. When I learned to love myself, I finally found the strength to be the person I want to be. If this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments down below. If you have made it to the end of this video, please subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends. I appreciate you all so much, and let me know what other videos you'd like to see from me. Bye!